Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Coach Craig's Sports. Today is Tuesday, November 1st, and this is the NBA DFS video for today. So in today's video, we'll be doing a recap of yesterday's picks, seeing how they turned out. Talking about the injuries in play for today's slate. Is only a 4-game main slate overall, so maybe one that you want to play just a little bit lighter since there is a little bit less variance overall today. Maybe not as good of value plays overall as well. And then going over my core picks on both DraftKings and FanDuel for today's slate as well. But without further ado, we'll get started with a recap of yesterday's picks. I did not have an updated core. Obviously, got a little bit busy with Halloween and everything else like that, so hopefully everybody out there did have a happy Halloween. There was a couple of values that did open up throughout the night, so if you were able to get to some of them, probably did pretty well overall. But at point guard on the DraftKings side, we had Tyrese Halliburton, $8,500, looking for 42, 43 fantasy points on him. Looked pretty good going into the day. Ended up with 29.5. He's a miss. Only 4 for 11 shooting from the field. This game ended up being pretty close, but it was on the backs of Buddy Hield and Chris Duarte. So Halliburton did not do a lot of scoring, and he also had 7 turnovers in this game. Did not help him out either way. Then at shooting guard, we had Dillon Brooks at $5,800, looking for 29 fantasy points on him. Said he looked like a better play if John Morant did not end up playing. John Morant played, but Desmond Bane did not. So he ended up getting to 26.5 points. So he's a mess, but not too bad of a play overall. 6 for 16, but mainly scoring is kind of the big detriment for Dillon Brooks, which is kind of something you expect from him in most times out. Then at small forward, we had Gordon Hayward at $6,200, looking for 31 points on him. He got to 28. He is a mess. Only 3 for 10 shooting from the field. Wasn't a bad day by any means, just wasn't like a super over the top day or anything else like that. Then at power forward, we had Isaiah Stewart at $5,200, looking for 26 points on him. He got to 30.25, so he was a good hit. And then last but not least, we have Miles Turner at $5,500, looking for 27, 28 points on him. Unfortunately, only got to 18.25. He was a mess, only played 20 minutes in this game and 2 for 8 shooting from the field. I don't know what you're supposed to say about Miles Turner there. He played 32 minutes like the last time out that he played, so there wasn't really foul trouble. There wasn't really anything else unless they're just managing this injury and didn't really say anything about it. It's just a little bit frustrating in that regard. But would have been a good GPP play if he did pay off overall. So a little bit down date on the DraftKings side. Then on the FanDuel side, we have Monty Morris at $5,000, looking for 25 points out. Got to 34.6 points. So he was a really good hit yesterday. Almost 7 times value there. Then at shooting guard, we had Dillon Brooks once again, $5,700. So we were looking for 28, 29 points. Got 24.3. He was a mess. Obviously 6 for 16 from the field. Once again, mainly scoring for Dillon Brooks, and John Morant did end up playing. Gordon Hayward, $6,600, looking for 33 points. Got 27.8. So he was a mess once again. 3 for 10 shooting from the field. Just didn't quite have the padded stats that we were looking for out of Gordon Hayward yesterday. Then at power forward, we had Keegan Murray at $5,500, looking for 27, 28 points. Got to 24.8. He was a mess. 5 for 15 shooting from the field, mainly scored the ball yesterday. Not a lot of other stats to really prop him up, but wasn't too far off from what we were looking for out of him overall. And then at center, we had Isaiah Stewart, once again, $5,600, got to 28.2 points, so he was a hit. So a little bit more hit or miss on the FanDuel side. If you had some other decent plays, still had a chance at cashing over there. But with that being said, we'll get moved over into the injuries and play for today's slate. So the slate does kick off at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, and we do have 2 games kicking off right away, which is kind of a rare thing for a Tuesday or Thursday slate. But the Golden State Warriors are going to be without Dante DiVincenzo and Andre Iguodala, so no changes there. For the Miami Heat, they're without Victor Oladipo and Omar Yurtseven once again, so no changes on their side as well. For the Chicago Bulls, they're without Lonzo Ball and Andre Drummond. Looks like Tony Bradley will get the backup center minutes probably tonight, unless they go super small ball and go with like Derrick Jones Jr. at that center spot overall, or a Patrick Williams, someone like that. Then they have Ayo Dosunmu listed as questionable. Zach LaVine listed as questionable. He's dealing with his left knee injury management. And then Kobe White, who's doing with a quad contusion. I assume Kobe White and Zach LaVine playing this game. Dosunmu is kind of the one that's more up in the air for me at this point in time. We'll just have to see what happens throughout the day, though, and I'll try to keep you guys as best updated on that situation as possible. So maybe some value opening up on the Chicago Bulls team overall. Then on the Brooklyn Nets side, TJ Warren is listed as doubtful, which is kind of an upgrade for him because he's been listed as out for quite some time. And then Ben Simmons is questionable after missing yesterday. And then we have Seth Curry listed as questionable as well. Has not played yet this year, I do believe. Then we move over to the 8 o'clock game with the Orlando Magic, who are without Mo Wagner, Jonathan Isaac, Gary Harris, Markelle Fultz, and Cole Anthony. Once again, Jalen Suggs is listed as questionable. We'll see if he's back today or not. Obviously, could be a big boost for them, but still probably limited in the minutes that he's playing since he has been dealing with an ankle sprain. And then for Oklahoma City, just without Josh Giddey once again tonight. So nothing too major there at this point in time. Could be some value on this Oklahoma City team, but they have had some pretty strange rotations so far this season. Then we move down to the final game of the night with the Minnesota Timberwolves, who are without Luka Garza and Minot, who are both going to the G League. Jordan McLaughlin is questionable at this point in time. We'll see if he plays or not. Otherwise, opens up some other minutes for Austin Rivers and Jalen Noel. And then we have Kyle Anderson listed as a game time decision. We'll see if he's back tonight or not. For the Phoenix Suns, Wainwright's out once again. Jay Crowder hasn't played yet this season, so he's still out. DeAndre Ayton is the new one that is out tonight. So we're going to see a lot of Bismack Biyombo and Jock Landale in this game. If you want to take shots on either one in GPPs or cash, you can feel free to do so. Probably more Biyombo in cash than Landale, but both make good GPP plays as well. Torrey Craig listed as a game time decision. We'll see if he plays tonight or not. But with that being said, that's a quick little rundown on the injuries in play for tonight's slate. Obviously, the Chicago Bulls and that Nets game is probably going to be the biggest one just because there is the most injuries in play there with Ben Simmons and the guards for the Bulls. That's where we could be opening up some value tonight. Jalen Suggs we'll keep an eye out on as well. But that's pretty much it for tonight in terms of the ones that we'll be watching throughout the day unless something else does pop up. But with that being said, we'll get moved over to DraftKings and talk about my core picks over there for today. So we're going to start off at the point guard position with Kyle Lowry, who's actually had a pretty good season so far. $6,100. We're looking for 31 points. Currently, I'm projected for 31 points. He's averaging 29 so far in the season. He had just over 36 the last time out against Golden State. Playing pretty big minutes and playing pretty well so far this season. So we'll see if that trend continues for Kyle Lowry today. Then at shooting guard, we're going to go with Devin Booker. He's $9,000, averaging just under 44 fantasy points per game on the season. I currently have him projected for about 45, 46 fantasy points tonight. Definitely has a ceiling for more. And probably one of the safer star players on tonight's slate overall, given his price tag. But at the same time, there are still guys that could outproduce him as well. But you're going to have that, especially on a 4-game slate where there is a good amount of stars on today's slate as well. Then at small forward, we have Jalen Williams, Oklahoma City Thunder, $3,900. We're looking for 19, 20 points out. Currently, I'm projected for 22. Came back after dealing with an injury, played 29 minutes last game. If he gets anything close to that tonight, he is going to be probably the chalkiest value play on tonight's slate. But on a slate that doesn't have a ton of value, he's going to look pretty good either way. Then at power forward, we have Draymond Green at $5,700. Looking for 28, 29 points out. I'm averaging just under 28 so far on the season. Currently, I have him projected for 29 points tonight. Gives you a little bit of upside for more as well. But still been a little bit limited in his minutes so far this season. But Steve Kerr has been ramping these minutes back up little by little, game by game. So I don't really have any concerns with Draymond Green tonight unless, he gets ejected or gets in major foul trouble or something like that. But that's kind of a chance that you do take on pretty much any given player. Draymond just comes with a little bit extra of that in terms of the ejection and doing stupid stuff on the court. And then at center, we have Bismack Biyombo at $5,500. Looking for 27, 28 points out of him. Currently averaging, 15 on the season, but he's been mainly playing behind DeAndre Ayton. Goes against the Timberwolves today. Should be a decent little matchup. Should be a matchup that he's out there on the court more times than not, but Jock Landale could steal some minutes as well. And with that being said, I currently have Biyombo projected for 28 points. We've definitely seen a ceiling for higher for him in the past. If he's rebounding the ball well, he's getting some blocks, and then if he gets a couple of putbacks on offense, could definitely outperform his price tag overall. But with that being said, if you go with these 5 players that I do have listed here, $19,800 remaining, $6,600 per player. Probably want to sneak another star player in there as well with Devin Booker and then kind of fill out for the rest from there. Maybe you can sneak 2 higher price guys in and then maybe another value if something else does open up throughout the day. But with that being said, we'll get moved over to FanDuel and talk about my picks over there as well. So at point guard on the FanDuel side, we are going to go with Chris Paul at $7,400. Looking for 37 points out of him. He's averaged about 35 so far on the season. Currently having projected for 36 points. Right near that 5x value overall. Point guard position is not as fruitful on the FanDuel side today. Chris Paul's kind of a safer player. You know what you're going to get out of him. Should be a pretty good matchup against the Minnesota Timberwolves as well. Then we move down to shooting guard with Jalen Williams. He's $4,200. We're looking for 21 points out of him. A lot of the things I said on the DraftKings side still applies for him tonight. Have him projected for 22 points. He played 29 minutes the last time out. If he gets anything close to that today, he is going to be one of the better value plays overall on tonight's slate. Then we move down to small forward with Cameron Johnson. He is $4,800, looking for 24 points out. I'm averaging just under that on the season so far. Starting to pick it up in terms of shooting once again. Currently having projected for 26 points tonight. Could offer some upside for more, could offer some downside for less as well. But on a slate that does not have a ton of value, he doesn't look too bad overall. Then we move down to power forward with Draymond Green. Once again, he is $5,700 on the FanDuel side as well. Looking for 28, 29 points down, averaging about 27.5 on the season so far. Currently, I'm projected for 29 points. Has some pretty good upside for more. Maybe a little bit downside for less, as I mentioned on the DraftKings side, if he gets in foul trouble or he gets ejected or something stupid like that. Then last but not least, we're going back to Bismack Biyombo at the center position. He's only $5,000 on the FanDuel side, and you get that extra point for those blocks, and that is what Bismack Biyombo does best, is get rebounds and get blocks. If he can get some putbacks, it's going to look like a pretty good value overall tonight. Currently, I have him projected for 27, 28 points on the FanDuel side, but definitely offers some upside for more, especially if he's getting some of those blocks. But with that being said, if you go with these 5 players that I do have listed on the FanDuel side, you have $32,900 remaining, just over $8,200 per player. So definitely some room and some flexibility to pay up for some star players if that's something you really want to do. Or if you want to take a little bit more balanced approach, that's definitely fine on today's 4-game slate as well. But with that being said, these are my core picks for both FanDuel and DraftKings for today, November 1st. As always, if you have any questions related to NBA DFS, be sure to leave them down in the comments below. Also try to specify whether it's for FanDuel or DraftKings just so I can best help you and not have to ask you too many more questions. Also, be sure to let me know your favorite play on tonight's slate. Could be for FanDuel or DraftKings or both. Definitely interested in hearing what you guys have to say. And then, as always, I'll try to get as many of the injury updates listed throughout the day as well as the starting lineups. Should be a little bit more on top of that today since there is no Halloween running around. And then I will also list any updates to the core for both sites if there are any changes throughout the day. Typically about 20 to 30 minutes prior to lock, but if there's anything major before that or after that, I will update as well. But with that being said, if you are new to my channel, please consider subscribing. Definitely would appreciate it. Helps to build the community that we're trying to build here at CoachCraigSports, which is one that's truly for you, the viewers, helping you with your DFS, primarily NBA and NFL DFS at this point in time. And then with that being said, if you are a newer current subscriber who's yet to do so, also be sure to hit that notification bell down below. It's going to let you know every single time I post up a new video, go live for a live stream. Definitely want to be sure to check out all the content, especially if you're into multiple sports of DFS. Right now, it is the NBA DFS Core Picks on the daily, Monday through Friday. And then I do the Monday Night Football and Thursday Night Football live streams for the single game DraftKings Showdown slate. If we have some time, we talk about FanDuel as well. And then the weekly core pick video for NFL DFS as well. So definitely be sure to check that out, as well as my NFL DFS cheat sheets over at WeBetATS.com. Also, be sure to check out my Patreon at patreon.com/CoachCraigSport. You can also find the link to that down in the comments below. I have some NBA DFS stuff there for player pools. I have DFS cheat sheet for NFL, as well as some other useful resources for fantasy football and NFL DFS as well. But with that being said, that's all I have for today's video. Hopefully you all enjoyed. And then last but not least, special little shout out to each and every one of you watching today's video. I truly do appreciate you taking the time out of your day to watch this video. Definitely means a lot to me, and I hope each and every one of you has a great rest of your day.